do I tuck my tail between my legs even further and just avoid these people altogether and like shame spiral? Or do I do the brave thing and re-engage? And if so, do I act like nothing ever happened?
Welcome to Smart Gets Paid with me, Leah Niederthal. I help women run more profitable consulting businesses, getting more of the clients you want and getting paid way more for your work without sacrificing your time. But I've never been a salesperson. My background is in corporate marketing, and when I started my own consulting business, I learned pretty quickly that it's about 1,000 times harder to sell your own stuff than it is to sell someone else's. So I taught myself how to do it, I turned it into a methodology, and now I teach that proven methodology to my clients. So whether your consulting contracts are $10,000, $100,000, or more, if you want more clients you love, more work you love, and to get paid more than you ever thought possible, then you're in the right place. Let's do it together. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to rate, review, and share. Hey there, Leah here, and thanks for tuning in. I hope wherever you're listening to this, wherever you are right now, I hope you're having a great week, making some good progress in your business, and taking some time for you. So I want to start today with a story, and I guess it's sort of a minor confession. So when my son was born, like all new parents, I was really overwhelmed. I mean, that's not the confession part. The confession is that I would drop the ball on the smallest things. Like I used to joke that it would take me 3 weeks to remember to Google something. You know, like I would think about something and be like, oh, I need to look that up. And then, just as soon the thought would like leave my head or I'd get distracted. And, 3 weeks later, I'd be like, oh, right. I was supposed to look that up. And I would also do that thing where, you get a text message and you sort of like write the reply in your head, but then you never actually send it because it was in your head and not in your actual phone. And then weeks later, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I wrote a reply in my head. And so that started happening when my son was born almost 7 years ago. And now I have 3 kids and one of them is 6 months old. And I'm still doing this stuff because even though I'm not as overwhelmed, like there's still a lot going on in my world. I just discovered recently that I had forgotten to invite my college best friend to my daughter's baby naming. This is somebody who I've known since I was 18 and inviting her to the celebration of my 3rd child. And I just forgot. And I was mortified, but honestly, I wasn't that surprised because that's just kind of what happens when you have a lot going on and when you're overwhelmed. It's kind of like, how when you're really cold, your body pulls all the blood into your core to protect your most critical functions, like your organs and, all the things that keep you alive. And then your extremities go cold, your fingers, toes, all the stuff that isn't essential to survival in that moment. That's what overwhelm does. When you're operating at capacity beyond what your body's built to hold, the extremities go first. The text messages you write back in your head and never send, or the friends you forget to invite, or the emails you mean to answer, things that aren't technically survival. And when you're running a business while you're already sort of running on fumes, your business has extremities too. Things like the follow-ups you meant to send, or the prospect you had a great call with and forgot to circle back to, or the person you meant to write a thoughtful response to and just didn't. You just didn't have the mental bandwidth. And here's the thing about overwhelm. It doesn't just make you drop the boring stuff. It makes you drop the exciting stuff too, because excitement asks something of you too. And when you're depleted, you just don't have it to give. So today, you're going to hear a coaching call with my client who's right in the middle of this. And she makes a confession. With my clients and on this podcast, we talk about what to do when a client ghosts you. But in this case, my client was the one who did the ghosting. And what follows is a conversation about what to actually do when you've gone silent on someone you wanted to follow up with. But it's not just about going silent, it's about why. And you'll hear how your head trash can really just compound the silence so that the longer you wait, the harder it feels to come back. You'll hear an incredibly helpful reframe from one of the other women on the call, which comes from a surprising source. And you'll learn a short but powerful script for re-engaging someone without shame spiraling. What you're going to hear comes from one of the small group coaching sessions in my program. So you're going to hear my client talking about her situation, you'll hear from me, and you'll also hear from a few other women in the group, all of them running B2B consulting businesses and weighing in with their own experience. It's really amazing to hear. This is what happens when you're in the right room. The collective wisdom of the women in these groups is honestly one of my favorite parts of running this program. So in this call, for example, there was a branding consultant, a political consultant for progressive candidates, a marketing consultant, a nonprofit strategy consultant, a workplace consultant, and a consultant for cultural institutions. So I want to send a huge thank you to everyone who is in this conversation for allowing me to share it with you. So take a listen, and I'll come back at the end and share a lesson you can apply to your business.
I'm going to bring my classic confession vulnerability time because I would love some collective wisdom. So I have a hard time managing my energy. It comes in spurts, and I can really lean in, and then either I get exhausted and withdraw or kind of burn out, or get intimidated and withdraw, or hit an obstacle, or life gets busy and balls get dropped. So in the academy call with the exercise was kind of how to re-engage people that have been interested in the past and people that you've had conversations with in the past. And my terrible confession that I hate, but is true, is that I have ghosted people, which I hate that. Not who I want to be, but somehow has coincided with one of those something, right? So I had a really good call with somebody. It was a really good call. She was super interested, had really good chemistry. I held the ball and was I'll get back to you, and just didn't. I'm really interested. So 2-part question. 1, do I tuck my tail between my legs even further and just avoid these people altogether and shame spiral? 2, do I do the brave thing and re-engage? And if so, do I act like nothing ever happened? Hopefully they have short memories. How would you guys tackle this? And obviously, I know all of you have your act way better together than I do. You would never do this, but this is my truth.
I have ghosted people. Raise your hand if you've ever ghosted somebody.
Or drop the ball and follow up. Oh, hell.
Yeah. Like drop the ball and follow up.
Like a prospect client, or
just in general.
I've probably not a prospect client.
Oh my God, give yourself some grace. Literally everyone is stressed out. I'm going to wear my professional hat for a few minutes. Everyone's bandwidth is tapped. Everyone is struggling. Everyone understands because they're going through it too. But yeah, honestly, I would even just send an email. And when I say I would, I mean, literally, I am doing this too, is sending emails with hey, it's been a little while. Wow, there's so much going on these days. And then just lead into the newness or the reconnect or let's follow up on this. Because I think realistically too, everybody else is so busy and so tapped that they might have forgotten as well. Or maybe they're having the moment where they're oh, we should totally follow up. We haven't heard from her for a while. Oh, but maybe she's busy, or who knows what's going on. Or then 50 emails come in and they lose track of what they were going to do next, right? So I wouldn't worry too much about it. I'm trying not to worry too much about it. And maybe we'll just message each other in Slack to pump each other up for these calls, because I got to do them too.
I think it's a really awesome way to just be human, And I have done this before. We all raised our hand. And in the framework that you just learned in the last training, it's a great elephant in the room. I've done this before where I'm hey, I was going through my inbox and I was completely mortified to realize that I didn't respond to you.
For 18 months.
They don't remember. It's like the giant zit on your nose. If you point at it, they'll see it. But if you don't, they don't know.
Be honest about you missed that, be transparent about you're bad, but move on. And honestly, you're going to be so proud of yourself just for doing that. Even if they tell you to they ghost you back, you did it. That's one thing that I worked on hard, because I used to do that in my corporate career, especially with vendors asking me to do stuff. No, not even going to respond to you because I've got a lot going on, right? Now that I'm the vendor, I'm much different about it.
Right.
Don't do that ghosting thing. But everybody gets overwhelmed and they deal with things in different ways. Also, just remember to give yourself some grace. everybody deals with this stuff. They might not deal with it the exact same way that you do, but like people are human. Remember, you're a human. It's okay.
It is okay. Yeah. I mean, without completely one downing yourself, by calling out the thing. Yeah. Just like, oh my God, the last 2 years have been the wildest decade ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, just be human and then be caring. Check on them too. I mean, if you've been like super overwhelmed, so is everybody. And we're all in this. Give yourself some grace. Use it as an opportunity to be human. And then I think it's also worth a look to say, like, when you are in those moments that you described, like, what is it that makes this thing fall off versus maybe something else? Was there something about this opportunity that like maybe freaked you out a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was it the client? Was it the work? Was it, maybe just the wrong time? Did you feel like it would have demanded too much of you? Clearly something came up. What came to mind?
Honestly, like, yeah, I mean, like sometimes I preemptively like ghost and break my own heart so that I don't get too excited. Like these were things that just seemed so exciting that they were terrifying.
Like you were worried you were going to do it right, or you were worried that you weren't going to get the job.
That like I would disappoint them or like they're local, like ruin my reputation locally. I don't know. Yeah, just screw up, like really fall on my face.
So you kind of sabotaged it?
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
Did you know that you were doing that at the time?
Probably, I'm sure. And then the longer it goes, the more you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lie, but that's the saboteur.
Right. More on how to re-engage without shame spiraling after this. I think that, and again, this is like a great topic for like somebody who's way more qualified at this than I am, like, a therapist or whatever. But like we do, we do some therapy light here. I think this question of like, what if it works out well? Yeah. Like, what if it's good?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've shared before, I do Al-Anon. Anyway, my sponsor says, your greatest fear is just as possible as the best outcome. So like, I love that. I apply it to everything because when you can get paralyzed by fear and worry and just not do it, as evidenced by my like, how do I do sales? And that's like the thing that I get hung up on. So, and revisiting that whole, well, will they like me? Will they not like me? There's a lot of steps between the conversation, them hiring you and you delivering the work.
Totally.
So like, don't get overwhelmed by the end state would be my little tip. Start with the first step.
I love that. Like your greatest fear is just as likely as the best outcome.
Yeah.
And yeah, statistically speaking, there is nothing that says you're going to fail.
Wow.
And also, do you routinely like screw things up and fail?
I have like a history. I like almost didn't turn into my college thesis. Like it was a whole thing. Like I just got real in my head about this thing.
So I'm an overthinker and self-criticizer and have been since I was a very small child. So my mom's approach, because the positive angle did not work with me, too much of my father's daughter. The other approach was to get real about the negative. So instead of me making everything, I think she'd say, all right, let's game this out. What really, I want you to be realistic. What is the worst thing that could realistically happen? And when I would game that out, it's not going to be it ruins my reputation. That this client doesn't hire me again and they move on to someone else and we're all professionals. And okay, if that's the worst, and she'd go, is that so bad? And so I try to do that to myself now as a grown up.
If anybody watches This Is Us, they did that on the show the other day where they like Randall and his wife play the like worst case scenario game where they're like, okay, worst case this happens. No, worst case that happens. And I was like, I love them. They're my people.
Yeah. Another way like scarcity mindset plays out for me is that I think like that one opportunity is the last time. Like it's my last chance to make it. So if I can kind of try to think of abundance, like I'm a vessel, like it's one thing, it's one opportunity. There were going to be others. And so whatever happens with this one thing is not the decider of my fate. And so it just helps me to also right size it and not stay in a place to give it so much power.
Offering, not asking. Offering, not asking.
Exactly. So is there one of these that's lodged in there so far?
I mean, one that has been really helpful is the permission to just be human and to not totally out myself in my humanity, but to like acknowledge it and like move forward and at least just clear the table, right? So I don't feel like I'm in debt. That's huge.
Yes.
That would feel good.
Yeah. And can you make it something that you do with the recipient, not in just alone?
Yeah. Yep. I like that. Thank you, guys.
All right, you guys.
Thank you, Leah.
Yeah.
All
Miss
right.
you guys.
Bye.
All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. So that conversation hit on something that I think a lot of us are carrying around without realizing it. Because what my client was describing in that call, the head trash, going silent, that's something you do when you're overwhelmed. I mean, not you, the royal you. But actually, a lot of us do it more often than we want to admit. Like, how often have you opened an email that needs a response and you're just like, oh, I can't right now? That's a lower stakes version of what my client described, but it's still a symptom of the same problem, overwhelm. And I don't just mean having a lot on your plate. I'm talking about having a lot on your plate and running a business in the midst of everything we're living in. And something else about that conversation that you just heard, it was actually recorded during mid to late COVID times. But from the topic, it could have happened last week or 6 months ago or yesterday. And that's the thing about overwhelm or burnout or whatever you want to call it. We've been living in versions of it for years now. Our nervous systems have been operating in this too much zone for too long. And the symptoms show up in the small things like the friend you forgot to invite or the email you never sent. And so if you're dropping things in your business right now, you're not broken. You're just a person living through a long stretch of hard things, doing your best. And the part that surprised me, even hearing it, over and over again in editing, is that overwhelm doesn't just make it hard to do the boring stuff, admin, inbox, all those things you probably don't want to do anyway. It makes it hard to do the exciting stuff too, like the opportunity you actually want, or the call that lit you up, or a friend who reached out and wanted to get together. Because even excitement, again, asks something of you. And when you're already depleted, the potential upside can feel as scary as the downside. That's what was underneath my client's ghosting. It wasn't that she didn't care. She cared so much that it scared her. And she didn't have the capacity in that season to hold that. So when you think about who you've gone silent on, take a look at which ones make your stomach drop a little. Those are probably the ones that matter the most. So what can you do about it? And that's where I like to pull out one lesson that you can apply to your business. And today's lesson has 2 parts. The first part is be kind to yourself. Really. If you've got a list of people to follow up on or whatever, before you do anything else, just take a deep breath and try to stop beating yourself up. You're not failing at business. You're just running a business in a world that's asking so much of you. And your nervous system is responding the way that nervous systems are supposed to respond when they're overloaded. They pull back and protect the core. And this is what Dr. Emily Nagoski and her sister Amelia write about in their book called Burnout, which is an amazing book, highly recommend. And one of their arguments is that burnout isn't a personal failing, it's a physiological process. Our bodies just aren't built to live in a constant state of stress. So if your business is showing the symptoms of that, then it's a signal that your body's reaching the edge of its capacity. And so in their approach, getting through or healing from burnout isn't a function of just, pushing through or sucking it up or having a better automation or productivity tools or whatever. We need to do what they call completing the stress cycle to tell your neurological system that it's okay now, that we're out of danger. And they give a few things that you can actually do to let your body come down. And the number one thing they recommend is movement. You can take a walk, you can go for a short run, dance in your kitchen, do jumping jacks, just something that lets your body register that the threat has passed. And I'll tell you, my wife and I actually do this with each other. When she's stressed out, I'll say to her, do you need to do some jumping jacks? Or she'll do a few push-ups. And I'll do the same thing when I get stressed out. And it sounds silly, but it really works. It's amazing how much doing, 20 jumping jacks reduces the stress you feel in your body almost immediately. And another thing they recommend is breathing, these long exhales, focusing on making the breath out longer than the breath in. And that's something you can do at your desk between calls. Our Academy coach, Brandy Zimmerman, talked about this in episode 125 called Breaking the Burnout Cycle. So when I say be kind to yourself, I mean give your body what it actually needs to come down. Move, breathe, then come back to your inbox. And part 2 of this lesson is the how-to part. So when you do come back to those people, stop trying to write the perfect, polished email that pretends like nothing happened. Just be human. Send something that says, you know what? I was going through my inbox and I was mortified or horrified or whatever word you like, mortified to realize that I never circled back to you. I'd love to pick this up if solving this problem, insert problem here, is still something you're interested in. People know you're human. They want to work with humans, right? You'll always be more relatable to your prospects and your clients when you show up as you, instead of trying to show up as some super polished person of who you think they want. So I'll leave you with 2 things to sit with this week. 1, what's one way that you can complete the stress cycle so you can reduce your own overwhelm, or even just knock it down a few degrees? Are you someone who'd rather do 10 jumping jacks or take a few long, slow breaths? And 2, who's one person that you've gone silent on that you actually want to come back to? Just one. And what would it take to send that showing up as a human email this week? And listen, neither of these has to be perfect. Take one breath, send one imperfect email. That's enough for this week. Because we're all paying the hidden tax of living through hard times, every one of us. And it shows up in ways you don't always notice. So be kind to yourself this week. All right? Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.